let's just listen into the Finance Minister of Kerala, because he's been giving us updates on what has been transpiring inside those GST Council meetings. Let's listen in.
CNBC TV 18. So firstly, what are the sticky issues? Why was it that the rates could not be concluded today?
Because by the time we finished discussion on dual control and also the compensation, the mobilization of resources for compensation, that it took full 2 days of discussion. Therefore, there was no sufficient time for discussing the rates.
So do you think November 22 is achievable to close all these sticky agendas and especially the rates?
Yes, rates I think will be clinched by 10th.
Okay, so what was the state's view? There are talks that states just could not agree with the rates. States still want some time to adjust and see and do the math on their own. What was the view?
Yes, we wanted to examine it more closely. Now the approach is whatever excise and VAT total tax on commodities. The commodities will be classified accordingly, and they would be put into the rate at a level nearer to existing rate. But VAT rate is 5% on the lower side now. There are some 200 commodities on which there is no excise, but there is a VAT tax of 5%.
Very true.
It is proposed they would be raised to 6%. Well, I don't think it would be good to do that. Many of them are necessities. At the same time, the tax rate on consumer durables is above 30%. Some of them as high as 48%. There is no sense in reducing them to say 26%. So the rate structure is something which needs a lot of fine-tuning.
So what about the 26%? Do you think 26% is reasonable of the 40%?
26% will have to go up, because no business house has said they are going to pass on to the consumer the reduction in the tax burden. In that case, there is no point in reducing the tax and reducing the revenue and hiking up the compensation. No.
So what about the issue of dual control? What happened on that?
Dual control, the model suggested, I feel, are too complicated. A simple one would be the states look into service payers and goods payers who are below turnover of 1.5 crores rupees. And above 1.5 crore rupees, there are larger taxpayers that can be dual control, cross empowerment. Well, but we suddenly realized that the numbers that were being talked about had a lot of problems with them. And therefore, the discussion was inconclusive. We will be taking it up on 3rd.
So broadly, no consensus on a lot of sticky issues like rates, like the dual control and the compensation.
Compensation more or less completed. Some more money has to be found. The Union Finance Minister has promised to look into that aspect. But other 2 issues, there has been no consensus.
Thank you so much, sir.
And that is the word coming into the Kerala Finance Minister. Mohandas Pai, let me get you to comment first. As you just heard the Kerala Finance Minister saying, on the issue of compensation, there has been convergence because the Finance Minister has promised to find the money. Where is the Finance Minister going to find the money from? Our sources tell us, and these are highly placed sources, that there is virtual consensus on the imposition of a cess to compensate states. A cess is a better mechanism of compensating states than an increase in tax rate. That seems to be the government's position. Mohandas Pai.
I think the cess is a very bad idea. It is a substitute for tax. You don't know whether your collections will go up. I mean, collections will go up. Collections will go up. Everybody says it'll go up by 1 to 2% of GDP. The fear of states not getting compensated is gone because the constitutional guarantee. And the finance minister, in my view, should borrow more, create a kitty by borrowing. Why put a cess when you don't know? Wait for a year. Industry should come on. Industry should feel that costs are coming down, productivity will come, the chain will be complete. It'll take 1 or 2 years for everything to play out, to give you an idea what exactly is happening. By creating a cess, creating a multiplicity of everything else, you're going to hurt industrial growth. And the idea that this will not be passed on to consumers in a competitive environment is totally wrong. It'll all be passed on to consumers. We can easily test it out over maybe 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. Let us take a bold measure, simplify, have as less ranges as possible, create a kitty, give it to the states, take a bold step, keep it above the fiscal deficit, and stop this cess business. And don't confuse the whole issue.
Well, they're not stopping this cess business anytime soon. In fact, Nihal Singh, let me bring you in on this conversation because, again, information that we're getting from highly placed sources suggests that the entire proceeds from the compensation cess will go to states governments. As the compensation liability comes down, this could be surplus revenue, and the compensation cess may be imposed for a period of 5 years. Remember, 5 years is what the centre has guaranteed in terms of making good the revenue loss to states. How would you respond to that? And we are also given to understand that perhaps the 26,000 crore rupees that will come by way of the energy cess will also go towards compensating states.
Yeah, I think the compensation has been already taken care of as far as the states are concerned, and therefore the multiplicity of the rates which is being contemplated is going to create a major problem in actual administration and also litigation, because there will be classification issues. Apart from that, the whole objective of simplified tax structure will go away. So therefore, that multiplicity of rate should be avoided as far as possible. And after about a year of deliberation in the empowered committee, they came out with the first discussion paper where very clearly there were 2 rate structure, and all states have agreed at that point in time also. So therefore, this multiplicity of rate is coming out of the fear or the government anxiety that there should be not an inflationary impact at all, and having a reference point of today's rate structure without taking into account that there will be an increase in the revenue because of the base will increase and also compliance will increase. But if you complicate the system by having multiple rates, then the even compliance will get affected. So that is one major concern about this entire rate structure. As far as cess is concerned, if it is not actually coming into tradable cycle, it means that it is not actually affecting the cascading effect of the tax and only at a final stage of like say sin goods or others, then I don't think it is going to make any material difference rather than having a multiple rate structure. That will be better idea, but it should not create a base that there will be multiple cess later on. So if this,
Let me also bring in Sachin. Sachin, do you share the anxiety that Nihal Singh was just talking about, and the rest of our panel has also sort of expressed that concern, on the multiplicity of rate structures leading to more complication, perhaps even litigation, and the tendency to push more items perhaps in the 26% bracket?
Well, I think that we are going backwards now. It is a retrograde step to undermine the credibility of GST, which has been understood by the public so far. We are actually distorting the structure by bringing a altogether unacceptable method of levying cess. We have said that we will, under GST, we will abolish all the cesses, and then we are bringing new cess. Now, if the intention of the government is to collect enough revenue to compensate the state, then without levying the cess, government will be in a position to collect the money, because the income tax collection itself...
Sachin, sorry, I'm afraid I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. We've got the Finance Minister of... we've got Mr. Pandiyarajan from Tamil Nadu, the representative of Tamil Nadu, the GST Council. Let's just listen in.
Yeah, just exactly
Yeah,
1 minute,
yeah,
boss,
yeah.
please.
So,
Yeah, please.
so what happened today? What were the issues where states were adamant, and what was Tamil Nadu's view?
There was no adamancy of any sorts. The last 2 days have gone quite well. There's been a considerable exchange of views, and what has been frozen is the principles of compensation and the vehicle for compensation. But what has not been frozen are the rates. They made a proposal. We've given our views. There are lots of data which has been shared. There are considerable work which they are likely to do, the team which is anchoring this whole thing. For the first time, we have a GST Council have its own secretariat. There's a separate person with a separate identity, which I think will behave very well for this whole thing. And in my view, if it does go in the same manner of transparency and fiscal equality, I see that GST could actually proved to be what it was destined to be, which is that one nation, one tax kind of a thing. And some distance to go. No one has been adamant as far as these 2 days is concerned. There's a spirit of camaraderie which was prevailing. And we believe that as long distance to cover before we arrive at the rates.
So when you talk of long distance to arrive at the rates, do you want some more flexibility in the rates? States, were they happy with the rate structure which was given yesterday, or you want some more clarity? What is it?
See, the key issue, more than the rates, it is the administration. Frankly, the key challenge for us is all the states put together have about 272,000 people, while the center has some 82,000 people. So who will be owning which piece of the assessees is the key challenge, which I think will get addressed in the next meeting. And in my view, if it goes with the same spirit of give and take, we could have something very good.
Are you okay with the Cess part of it?
Cess is the vehicle I mentioned for compensation. It's one of the choices which is getting evaluated. It may not be the only choice. So as of now, we are happy. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, we wanted certain transparency as to what will be the principles which determine the compensation, what will be the vehicle for compensation. They propose something which we are happy with. But it still doesn't mean that we will get the compensation what we want. The nitty-gritty is the numbers need to be worked out.
Thank you so much, sir.